You've asked yourself in the past, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, what's the difference? You've been behind a Subaru and you've seen symmetrical all-wheel drive. You've been by a pickup truck and you've seen 4x4, four-wheel drive. And then you think to yourself, wait a second, I have four wheels and it's an all-wheel drive. Does that mean that I have four-wheel drive? No. We are going to talk about it because it is pretty confusing, but we're just going to get down to just the basics. Nothing too crazy. Pretty simple for today. So one of the major differences between all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is you can think of all-wheel drive as more of a computerized system. Okay? You don't do anything. Basically, the computer says, as you're driving down the road, it says, okay, I need to send more power to this wheel. I need to pull power from this wheel in order to maintain traction. So if one of your wheels is slipping, it might then pull some power or stop giving power to that wheel and then give power to the wheels that already have traction. So that is going to be important because a four-wheel drive system, think of it as more like a mechanical system. So this system is going to be, basically you've got your drive shaft coming from your actual transmission, and that's going to help distribute power to your four wheels. However, it is not going to do all that power in a smart way. It might send, like, let's say you've got an issue and one of your wheels is spinning. Well, I've been in a situation where I've been in four-wheel drive and I've been stuck and I gave it power and it just kept dumping power to the wheel that was spinning, the wheel that was stuck. Whereas with an all-wheel drive system, it's going to be a little smarter, and it's going to say, okay, this isn't working. We're not moving, and this wheel is just spinning. So stop sending power to that wheel. Let's send power to the wheels that actually have traction, and let's get out of here. So that's going to be something that's going to be, the major difference is going to be a mechanical system versus a computerized system. So you're probably thinking, four-wheel drive kind of sucks then. Well, for on-road use, it kind of does. For on-road, I would definitely prefer an all-wheel drive system than I would a four-wheel drive system. And usually you're going to see these all-wheel drive systems in Subarus, in Audis, in Volkswagens and BMWs, a lot of German cars. And that's going to be a smarter system. Whereas if you have something like a Honda all-wheel drive system, they are going to put most of the power, most of the time, to the front wheels. Then if they sense any sort of slippage, then they will then send power to the back. And that's going to help you kind of get out of your sticky situations, which is great for gas mileage because you're not having to drive all those wheels all the time. It's just going to be those front wheels. Inversely, you've got some fancier all-wheel drive systems, like Ferrari has one in their FF. It looks like a little hatchback. I think that they call it the clown shoe. That type of thing looks like a strange hatchback car. I think it looks kind of cool. But I like cars that look like shoes. So in that car, it's going to be all-wheel drive up until a certain speed or if you're in a certain gear. Then it's going to take off the all-wheel drive and put it just in rear-wheel drive, which is kind of an interesting choice. But they're going to do it because of the power is what it's going to be. What are you pulling over? What are you doing? Pulling over without a blinker. Okay. So then you've got systems like in the Prius where you're going to be able to do all-wheel drive, but it's going to shut off at a certain mile per hour. And I don't know that certain mile per hour off my head. It's something low. I think it's 15, 35 miles per hour. That's when it's going to turn off and then go into front-wheel drive. So it's going to be able to give you all-wheel drive just for situations where you would need it. And it's going to then shut it off for fuel efficiency because it will cost more gas, more fuel to drive all those four wheels. A benefit to four-wheel drive is going to be off-roading. And a lot of people are going to use, well, most people who are going to be doing any sort of off-roading are going to use four-wheel drive and not all-wheel drive, because you have the ability, this is where it gets kind of tricky, kind of off in the weeds, is you have the ability to lock all four of your wheels together. And it's then going to say, okay, we're all going to move at this speed. And that's what you're going to use to help get out of your sticky situation. So not like an all-wheel drive where it can pull power for a wheel that's slipping. This is saying, okay, we're all going to go forward. We're all going to go forward with this speed if you lock everything together on a four-wheel drive car. So that's why a lot of people are going to do some low-speed stuff like rock crawling or getting out of mud and stuff like that. It's going to be four-wheel drive because they're just going to power through no matter what and get out of those spots. And that's going to be, this is kind of a little more advanced, but when you hear people talk about lockers, that's what it's going to be, is that's going to lock all the wheels together. You can lock the back wheels so they go forward at the same time. You can lock the front wheels so they go forward at the same time. You can lock them all together so all of them go together at the same time. That's going to help you get out of those sticky situations, but it's going to be terrible on gas. You don't want that for normal driving around, normal daily stuff. And it's going to be very difficult to turn. If you have an all-wheel drive system, a four-wheel drive system on, and you try to turn, it will kind of hop. The car is going to go kind of chip, 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 chip this way because you're trying to put power to a wheel that's already turned as much as it can go. And that connection between the transmission and the wheel is going to be bound up. So it's going to have a hard time, chip, 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 and you can actually break parts if you do it that way. So really you have to change it into rear-wheel drive if you're making a corner with the four-wheel drive system. So once again, just kind of a light touch and go on that subject. Think of it as all-wheel drive. It's going to be computerized. It's going to be situational. Four-wheel drive is going to be more of a mechanical thing that you push the button, you turn it on, and you turn it off, but it will be better for off-road. So depends on what you need it for.